I've been thinking a lot about women lately, specifically where we are in this space and time. Truly, we are at a point in history where women have made so many strides, more so than ever before in history. Women are financially freer, they are more educated, they have the freedom to move about without needing a male escort. This is all great progress. And let's be clear, this is something that is distinct, that has never happened before in any of our modern history. We are free from the shackles of having to be attached to men so that our survival and those of our offspring will continue. We're able to do it ourselves, and that's great. But here's the thing. This is really new and uncharted territory, guys. And as part of this new uncharted territory, no doubt there are going to be some broken plates along the way. There is going to be some things that we do wrong. It's going to be par for the course as we try to figure out our new roles in society. Some of us want to cling to a little bit of the past while maintaining the modern conveniences of being able to move freely about the world. People are going to have something to say about that. I'm not really going to talk about that today. What I am going to talk about is how the surplus of wonderful women doing amazing things, how the entry of women being more successful and more educated could lead to in this new paradigm of society. And that is, women are going to start turning on each other. Now, I know that sounds really strange to say. Here it is, we have done better than we have ever done before. Why on earth would women turn on each other? It kind of got into my head when I was listening to a podcaster talk about women giving bad advice. And we all know it. I've seen it. I've seen tons of women give other women bad advice. I've seen it since I've been on the internet. But what he drew in the conversation was an anthropological perspective that I'd not really thought about. And that is about competition when it comes to mate selection. Now, why would women giving bad advice to other women have anything to do with competition for mate selection? Well, it's pretty obvious, and I'm kind of embarrassed that I didn't put two and two together sooner so that I could start talking about this. But I'd been seeing for years tons of bad advice given to women. This magic bullet, this hack, this thing, this shortcut. Here's ways that you can get the man you want without doing anything. Being fat is beautiful, and you're beautiful at any size, and all of us are 10s. And I'm thinking to myself, gosh, why are we doing this? Why are we in this delusion that we all are pretending not to see what our eyes are seeing? And when this podcaster brought it up, it sort of made a lot of sense. What he said was men and women are equally competitive, and they're also aggressive. The thing is with men is that their aggression is often direct and physical, whereas with women, it is indirect, and it has to do with relationships. We gain power through relationships, support through relationships. We care for the children, we care for the families. And so we are expert in expressing a different kind of aggression towards each other called relational aggression or girl bullying. In any case, what we have here is a lot of women doing very, very well. And the mid and bottom tier of men, not so much. We all know that there's the rise of the red pill and incels and just general frustration towards women that you see online from men. And prior to this, I thought it was a lot of complaining, a lot of whining, until I actually delved deep into it and realized how impactful that this is and how it can really do damage to women in the long term. And maybe we need to not be so short-sighted about this. Women are doing really well in their finances and in education, and that ticks 2 out of the 3 major boxes that women like to have, and that is the financial freedom, the education, and the partnership. A partnership that could lead to marriage and perhaps children. So we've ticked those 2 boxes and we're doing really well there. But here's what happens to the mid and lower tier of men when women do well. Well, it seems to me that the hypergamous bug that we all have is very, very hard to vaccinate. We are always going to look for men who are doing better than us, or at least as well as we are doing. And therein lies the problem with ignoring the men who aren't doing so well. That makes the pool for women who are looking for partners extremely shallow. Let's think about this for a second. Say you have 80 educated, financially free, career-oriented women who are looking for their match in a mate. And then they look over and there's 20 out of 100 men who fit that bill. These are the more successful, or at least as successful, the more educated, or at least as educated men that these women will find desirable. Because once you take away the need to be rescued or to have some sort of financial security in your old age, other things start to be important to you, right? Personality, looks, humor, intelligence, kindness, all of those sort of intangible things. Those were luxury needs to our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers. Those were not top priority, but now that we're in a different position, it is now something that we covet. So, what are the 80 women going to do with the 20 guys? They're going to fight for them. And remember, women are just as competitive as men. Women are just as aggressive as men. It's just that it is expressed in different ways. So, if you have the soft aggression that women are masterful at, in practice, when there is a scarcity when it comes to mate selection, guess what's going to happen? Maybe, just maybe, all these women online giving terrible advice, literally lying to our faces, peeing on our feet and calling it rain, maybe, just maybe, might be doing it to eliminate you out of the competition. Maybe, just maybe, she's giving you bad advice so that she looks more desirable than the same man that you both are competing for. I mean, let's think about it. Would it really be that far-fetched if, say, a movement like Hot Girl Summer, where you have a group of women dressed a certain way, looking a certain way, and behaving a certain way, and you have other women cheering them on. Now, that seems nice, right? That seems supportive, right? Sisterhood, yay. But when you really think about it, the men's response to a lot of these behaviors is not the same. They are not getting the same type of meaningful connections and relationships with the men that they want. Why? Because what men want hasn't changed. Because while women are evolving, the things that men want really haven't changed that much. They still want a nice, kind, poised woman. In general, that's what men want. They also want them to be agreeable. But what I've seen a lot online is the demonstrations of women behaving horribly, horribly to each other, horribly to other men. And you have a group of women who find this empowering. And then you couple that with the attention that you get when you behave this badly. So we're becoming very popular amongst each other with all of our you go girls, but it's not really translating in the relationship market. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Chris, I don't care about this because I've given up on men. I ran across the 4B movement or the decentering movement or the whatever movement that's out this week, and this is what I'm on. So I don't really care about mate selection and competition because I'm not really on that right now. Well, okay, fair enough. Do you think that this sort of bad advice just is relegated to, say, men? Why? Why would we think that when now so many of us are in positions where we are financially supporting ourselves? So, what women are going to do is preserve what they've got. We still have the mindset that we want to acquire things and keep what we own. And so we will also be territorial when it comes to the workplace, especially right now, with all of the things that are going on in politics, in the global markets, with our social upheavals and our culture wars. Understand this, that people at your job, women at your job, are also competing, and they're also aggressive. And they also will use relational aggression to preserve or get what they want. And they would be willing to throw you under the bus in order to get what they want. And that would be including giving you bad advice. Or perhaps it could be that you're so empowered because you think that you are on the right side of history, and you have decided that you want to be activists, and all of the women are cheering you on because you are taking up the mantle of womanhood, and therefore you should be celebrated. And nothing, absolutely nothing that you do, including punching out someone who is on the opposing side, is wrong because it is in the service of righteousness. And you might get rewarded a little bit. You might get a GoFundMe. You might think that you've done really well reframing the argument, saying that you are really the victim. Women were really good at the whole Darvo thing. You are really the victim because this person is known for being a contrarian and to bait people. Clearly, your righteous punches were well placed. And sure, they'll throw you a few dollars while they're on break, and then they'll turn their chairs around and start click-clacking back on those computer keys with their nicely manicured nails and move on with life as you get your GoFundMe de-GoFunded and you get arrested for battery and you lose your job. But all the likes, though, all the praise, though. But look where you are now. You are facing serious felony charges. Every cent was wiped out. All the people who cheered you on are off doing other things. But you took the bad advice of standing up for what you believed in. A lot of us are doing this whole political thing, using it as a religion, a mantle in which we want to hold up, and it's often to our detriment. And if we don't say, hey, maybe we need to stop this, while other people are saying, no, we need to do more, perhaps the women who were saying, no, we need to do more, need to be examined a little bit. Maybe we need to be asking the people who are giving us bad advice that could jeopardize our relationships or our very livelihood, cui bono? Who benefits from me accepting this terrible advice that you're giving me? Is it me? Well, if I got arrested for standing up for the mantle of womanhood and she's on her way doing her own thing, and she would never be caught dead in public, say, punching someone or wearing something ridiculous or, say, having a baby out of season. She would never do those things, but you go, girl. While she's a size 6, You're a size 66 and she says, you go girl. Listen, I wanted to say this. This is in no way trying to come down on women. We are, again, in new uncharted territory when it comes to our place in society. It used to be very straightforward, and now there are tons of shades of gray, and we're all trying to figure it out. So there's, again, going to be some broken plates and cups along the way. But there are certain core hardwiring that we have as women that evolution has put in place for hundreds of thousands of years. And that is to behave in a certain way when there is a feeling of scarcity. And women tend to be very territorial over things that are elemental to their survival. And so is a career situation. It's not just about the relationships, it's also the career situation. So, what is the best way to eliminate the competition of all these women doing really, really well in life? How can you win and stand out? Well, maybe publicly you say that you want diversity and inclusion in ads like Victoria's Secret. And you want to see women of all sizes going down the runway. But in secret, you're purchasing the images of the slender women, the aspirational women, while publicly saying, you go girl. This double-mindedness, this bad advice, this delusion that we keep feeding each other is useful for people who want to have a competitive edge, whether it's with mating or in career. Because I gotta be honest with you, even if you are not on the relationship tip, being overweight, being seen as unattractive, seen as disagreeable, all do not work in your favor in the workplace. People who are overweight get paid less. That is a statistical fact. People who are not agreeable at work don't stay there long, and people don't like you. All of these attitudes, the sense of bravado, the meanness, the cosigning of terrible behavior, the cosigning of treating others terribly, is going to make a distinction between the women who do and the women who don't. And the women who are sugar and spice and everything nice will also be those women that will encourage you to your own destruction. I mean, why not? If so many women are doing well, then you've got to cull the herd. So wouldn't it be possible that the bad advice you're getting is not simply out of ignorance or the blind leading the blind? Perhaps it is a little bit more sinister than that. I'm going to give you a hard example of this happening to me. So I'm the founder of No Wedding, No Womb. It was a viral campaign that launched in 2010, and it was to raise awareness about the out of wedlock rate within the Black community at the time when it was exploding. Nobody in the media would talk about it, but I crafted the campaign in such a way that it went ultra viral. And because it went ultra viral, Twitter was a thing back then, and I'd gotten so much pushback, not just from the Black community complaining that I was shaming single mothers. I'd gotten it from the most unlikely and surprising group of people, and that was white liberal women. White liberal women put think pieces together, shaming me, telling me how wrong I was about No Wedding, No Womb, and how I was really hurting poor Black women because, hell, they really don't have much going on in their lives, and having a child might be the only good thing that they have going on. And I'm mean old Crystal and I'm trying to take away from the only happiness that they could possibly have in their miserable, poverty-stricken lives. I did a little bit of digging in their own social media, and I found out that 100% of those white women who said that I was wrong to call attention to the out of wedlock rate and I was shaming Black single mothers were themselves married. They were also married to the fathers of their children. And shockingly, all their children had the same last names. So here it was, a group of women who are not even Black, who do not even understand the dynamics of what's going on here, pushing their nose in and saying that I'm doing a disservice while simultaneously they're waiting to have their children. They're getting married before they had said children. They are living in gated communities and living very fluffy, sweet, soft lives. Meanwhile, telling Black women it's okay to have a chaotic family, that it's okay to have a baby that you're not prepared for, that it is strong and you go, girl. Could it be possible that women of a different community would give women of another community bad advice so that they could cull the herd, so that they could reduce the competition? Is it so far out of the realm of possibility that women could do this to each other? I don't think so. And as things start getting tight, y'all, as the economy still keeps doing what it's doing, and the stock market keeps doing what it's doing, and Trump keeps doing what it's doing, and men are still lonely, unmotivated, and increasingly resenting women, and the competition for the top 20 men continues, all I can see is more doling of bad advice. And the only advice I would give to you in this situation is ask yourself one question and learn this one Latin phrase, cui bono. Ask yourself who benefits from that terrible advice you're getting. And if it's not you, keep scrolling.